to another episode of the Wealthy Lawyer Squad podcast. Today is going to be an amazing show, an amazing conversation. Seriously, I just like to invite my friends and actually record conversations that we have because half the time we're like, wow, people should hear this and hear what we're discussing, when we talk about what we do in our business and our lives and motherhood. So excited to have my good friend Mari Delgado here today. I'll just give a little bit of an intro and then we're gonna dive in.
Sounds good.
So really quick, actually, what is a CFP?
Oh, certified financial planner.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I love it. Fancy.
It's a 7-hour exam.
Oh my God.
That allows us to really understand all the snippets of financial planning. So estate planning, insurance planning, tax planning, protection, investment planning, even behavioral finance. Like
Wow.
it allows us to understand all aspects of somebody's financial well-being enough to be able to guide them and understand when we need to reach out to someone like you and say, hey, Lauren, this client needs X or Y. So
Very
it
cool.
allows us to do a really great job with our clients understanding everything.
It's a big deal.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. And just for context, because everyone who's listening is either in law school or a lawyer, the bar exam is a similar amount of time. So
Yeah, I never want to compare myself to an attorney because I mean, you're doing it. You're doing it, and it is. But the CFP, let's just say that my husband is happy
yeah.
that I
Yeah.
was done with
That you're
that.
done. I know I have in my school, in my class that I'm teaching, you could see the fear every time I'm like the bar exam, there you see them just like cowering in the corner. I'm like, it's fine. It's fine. You're going to be okay. So Mari is a CFP professional and private wealth advisor, a strong believer that anything can be achieved with proper planning and preparation. I agree with that wholeheartedly. From serving as the first woman president of the Association of Latino Professionals for America at FIU, amazing. That's incredible. To starting her career at the top team at Merrill Lynch, she's broken down barriers time and time again. You bring over a decade of experience in private wealth management, and we're going to talk about this today. Your main focus is helping women in transition. So, executives with significant wealth tied up in stock, that's a biggie.
Hmm.
Dealing with divorce or the loss of a partner, receiving an inheritance, that's also a biggie.
Hmm.
Navigating IPOs, liquidity events, retirement, all of the things. You currently serve both Spanish and English speaking clients nationwide, and you're super involved in the community, including organizations like Habitat for Humanity, Women Who Care, Women's Executive Club of Fort Lauderdale. You've invited me to incredible events recently, including the Women's Fund Power the Purse. That was amazing. If you're not working and being with your boys, your beautiful boys, you'll be enjoying a round of golf, going for a run, and you have your little ones. And I know you love to travel too. So
Oh,
welcome to the
stop.
show.
Thank you so much. I love to be here. Full transparency. I just had a full bag of nerds because that is the life of a working mom trying to balance as much as we can. And this means sometimes having lunch from a gas station
Yeah.
and literally boom rushing through the motions. So if you notice me a little bit hyped up, I think I'm bringing the best energy to this podcast.
I love it. I think we
I'm
should
ready.
always have nerds right before the podcast. Gonna make this a thing.
Yeah, we should just have a little bit
Just here we go.
yeah.
Hear that sponsorship opportunity, nerds.
Yeah, exactly. Very, very important.
But that's just let's dive into it. That's the real life of a working mom.
Yeah.
You're running around, you're busy.
Yes.
What is a typical day in your life?
Every single day is different.
Yeah.
Every single day is different, but I've forced myself, and it has worked, to time block. And so trying to be as present as possible for whatever it is that I'm doing. I love my boys to death. So when I'm with them, I want to be with them. When I'm with my husband, I want to be with my husband. When I'm with my client, I want to pay attention to my client and make sure that they get the best version of me.
Yeah.
And same with my team. When we're having team meetings, I'm not, multitasking in meetings and just trying to be present. I am a professional multitasker. Is not something that I'm proud of because I see that I don't get to deliver my best results when I'm multitasking. That's just me.
Yeah.
So I've been more focused on being present, time blocking and my calendar color coding, um, having the visibility as to like, okay, did I make sure that I touched all clients this week, that I, was with my family this week, that I did something for myself. So yeah, no, I feel like I holding yourself accountable allows all my dates to be different, but a day in the life always needs to include some time for my clients, some time for my prospective clients, my family, and myself, which
Yeah.
is the hardest part.
Yeah. I know. It's being a working mom or a working parent is not for the faint of heart. How do you kind of divide up your day, would you say?
I think how do I divide up my day usually?
Yeah, between like professional and family cuz I'm always looking for good tips for myself too, honestly.
I just got this tip from somebody in my company, but essentially, when are you the most alert? And this might
Mm,
change for people. Some people are night owls, some people are
yeah.
morning person. So I'm a morning person. So my typical day is the time that I'm active. That needs to be time that it has that I need to be thinking. So creating proposals, creating investment portfolios, talking to clients, and strategizing. That typically is during the daytime after 2 to 3 p.m., my brain starts slowing down. And so that's when I start shifting to activities that I can do, that don't necessarily require much attention. And then my nighttime is with my boys.
Yeah.
The bath time, I love the bath time, love putting them to bed. I think it's just a really sweet time to be
Yeah.
with them.
I love it too. I was traveling this weekend and even those 3 nights that I didn't have it, I was like the last night especially, I was like, I really wish I was there right now.
Oh,
It's just like a special
it
moment
is.
right
It
before they
is.
go to sleep. And
And
then
then
you can
they
have some time to
hug
yourself.
you.
I know.
Yes. Oh, that part is great when they go to sleep.
You're like, I miss you,
I
but
miss you.
also
I miss you, but this quiet in the house is
it's
amazing.
amazing. Amazing. So tell us, how did you get into finance originally?
So I originally started studying biomedical engineer.
What?
Um,
I didn't know that.
yeah, my
Wow.
dad's a doctor, mom's a dentist. I thought science, I thought that's the route that I would take just from a generation standpoint.
Yeah.
But I didn't like organic chemistry.
Mm.
And at the same time that I was trying to navigate, what I was good at, I really enjoyed physics and math. And I didn't enjoy science so much. And at the same time, unfortunately, my parents were victims of the financial crisis. They were one of the many immigrant families that got, targeted for it, honestly, financial illiteracy. That's the best way that I
Mm.
could put it because there were so many products out there that if you didn't understand, could be pretty detrimental. So they got into a balloon payment type
Oof.
of mortgage, not understanding what it was. And so that really fueled my need for wanting people to be educated because I saw how it could negatively impact your life and it could be detrimental to you and your family and sometimes many generations to come. So
Mm.
that's when I really had an interest for financial literacy. I started asking questions and got involved in Alpha FIU. And that is when I got to speak to people in venture capital, people in investment banking, people in just uh, banking, and all these different branches that the financial world has. And wealth management was it. I met somebody at Merrill, and I liked the fact that it felt plain and simple. You help someone, you ask someone what they need, you create a plan to help them, and then you just hold them accountable to that plan. And then I was really attracted to that. That's why I like the CFP so much because then you're able to really look at what do they need so that they could be the most efficient during their tax planning, during their state planning. Um, and that's kind of what fueled my passion for helping people overall.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. And I think, so much of the financial industry and financial planning it's not just making recommendations on what stock to buy. It's so much more than that. I think a lot of people think when they think financial planning, that's what they think about. But it's what are your goals? What do you really need? What are you trying to accomplish? And understanding, the person and your client, and how can you hold them accountable, because we all deal with money in very different ways.
And there's a psychology to it. The way that you were brought up around money sometimes pours over to the way that you handle money now. And so I think that it's powerful when you find a way to help those clients really make the best take the best action, not only for themselves but also for future generations.
Yeah.
I think that part is really powerful. And just really listening to what clients need, not just a recommendation, is so important. I wish that there was a better way to, I guess podcasts are a really good option, but I wish that people understood how important a financial advisor is.
Yeah. Let's talk about that. What do you think, in all the clients that you've worked with over your long career so far, what do you think the biggest things that a financial advisor can do for that person, that they couldn't do on their own necessarily, or may not do on their own?
So after the pandemic, I feel like a lot of people going on TikTok and a lot of people going online seeing what's the quickest like get rich scheme, or what should I be buying? What should, that quick investment recommendation.
Mhm.
The true value of a financial advisor is plain and simple them getting to know what's best for you. That's in summary.
Mm.
In my experience, what I've seen is that a financial advisor really does that person saves you from yourself, because money's so emotional, because the stock market is so volatile, especially right now.
Yeah.
Um, and you want someone, ideally a third party, to hold you accountable and kind of keep you on track. I would say that a few ways that a financial advisor could be really valuable that you it's really difficult for you to do on your own is tax planning. One of my colleagues, Craig, he says planning for life's uncertainties,
Mm.
which are the state of health that you're going to be in the future. You have no idea what to expect there.
Yeah.
Um, Taxes, we have no idea what to expect in the many years of when you start preparing for retirement, or when legacy transfer happens. There's just a lot of uncertainties of life that what we try to do is plan for it as best as we can with the information that we have available now, making that as tax efficient as possible,
Yeah.
and then holding you accountable so that your emotions don't get in the way and hurt your future decisions.
Yeah. I think that's so important, and I think it's not talked about that much, at least when I was growing up, and I was a finance major. I never talked we never learned about in school all of those other aspects. It was, "Okay, here's the different types of products, here's the different types of investments, here's how
Yeah.
they work," which is important,
Yeah.
and it's important to have an advisor walk you through that and hold your hand, but that is, like you said, just one piece of the pie
Yeah.
of a big financial picture.
Yeah. Just because something is good for you doesn't mean it's good for me. Even if we have similar risk appetite, similar, life situations. We're both moms, we're both married. That doesn't matter. Your outlook on life might be different. Your goals and the way that you want to spend your retirement, or even your priorities now as a working mom, they are so different from everybody else. So it's important to work with somebody that can individualize that plan for you, so that when it's noisy out there and there's things happening, you're not that worried because your plan was made for you and you feel
Mm,
good about it.
yeah.
So working with somebody that can really nail that down, that this is the right thing for you. I feel like that's what my clients like the most about me. The fact that when it's really scary out there, there's a lot of uncertainty, market volatility, I remind them why their portfolio is positioned at a certain place. And that it goes back to education, and then it goes back to them feeling all right because it's the right thing for them.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. So one of the things that you mentioned, one of the reasons of having a financial advisor, why it is so important is, the inheritance, the legacy, the wealth shift. And we were talking a little bit before recording about how you're seeing that wealth shift starting to happen.
Yeah.
What is that looking like, and what are your kind of thoughts and advice on, for our listeners who may be on the receiving end of a wealth shift at some point?
It's exciting. It's really exciting because I do feel that a lot of women are, you know, at the receiving end of this wealth shift. Um, and it's exciting because the conversation and messaging around women and wealth has changed a lot just in the last few years, but overall last 10, 15 years, there's been a really large shift in how the type of power that women have from that financial independence. That part is really exciting for me.
Yeah.
um what I'm seeing is women do invest differently than men, and
Mm,
women are better investors. Even though my husband is amazing and I have my partners Chad and Craig, and I respect men so much because they're so supportive of me, but women are just different. We're built
yeah.
different.
And I mean, the
Yeah.
studies show that women are, even though we tend to invest less than our
Yeah.
male counterparts, and that number is changing,
Yeah.
just statistically, we are better investors. It's the numbers.
It's just the
We're not
number.
making this up.
No, it is exciting because the fact that women are at the receiving end of this wealth shift. When women have more money, you do see a lot of it being, I don't know how to say it in English, but giving it back to the community. So the communities overall,
Yeah.
are stronger when
Yeah.
women are um, in a better economic place. um what I see a lot is that my clients, or even just in conversation, a lot of them didn't really resonate with their parents financial advisor. So the
Mm,
parents financial advisor or their family's financial advisor um maybe didn't talk to them as much, maybe wasn't too interested in talking to them as much because it wasn't their money yet, so who cares.
yeah.
That's unfortunately what I saw a lot during these 10 years that I've worked in wealth management. And so once the wealth does arrive at their hands, they want to hire a woman. They want to hire someone like them, someone that gets it. If they're moms, they'd like to talk to a mom. If they are, at the end of the day, you want to hire somebody that you like and that you trust and that you communicate well with.
Yeah.
And so that's what I've seen a lot, that a lot of these women are kind of moving away from the family financial advisor and going towards somebody they resonate more. And while they're doing so, they're also wanting to align this money with their values.
Yeah.
And so a lot of them are what's important to me. If I'm spending time in a dog shelter because animals are very important to me, is there a way for me to not invest in companies that are doing animal testing?
Mm,
And so just whatever that might be for you, because
wow.
everybody's so different,
Yeah.
back to the portfolio being individualized for you. If that's something that you are spending your time is money. So you're spending valuable time in a specific, eh, whether it is a nonprofit or something that's really close to your heart, can you align your investments in like with your values as well? And that's something that I see a lot of women doing.
That's right. And I wouldn't have thought of that example. So that's so cool to think about. Okay, this is what I care about.
Yeah.
How can I don't know what I would have thought of with value based, like maybe specifically investing in the companies you believe in, which I'm sure that's a big part of it too. But I love that. You can get very specific.
You
What other types
can.
of value based investing is there?
Wellness is one that I see a lot. So companies that prioritize mental health,
Mm,
companies that support women through infertility
mm,
processes, like there's whatever you're going
wow.
through. What I see and most women do is that if something really touches their heart, they want to make sure that they can support more of it.
Mm.
And what better way to support than to align your portfolio so that it's more it's yeah, I don't want to say heavily invested in that, but that it is supporting companies like that. It may be turning away from companies that don't give parental leave
Mm.
because you're a mom and you know how valuable that is.
Wow.
Um, so wellness is a really big one. Climate, just because we're in South Florida, climate is very, very important. I feel like it rains, it rains one time and we're flooded and we can't do anything. So if you can align your money with companies that um, are trying to reduce their carbon emissions and all of that, I think it's powerful. And I tend to see more women do it.
We were talking about this too before, but money really is power.
Yeah.
And I think that is such an incredible example of if you want to make real change, having money and then using that money for good or for what you believe in, and also to benefit yourself and your benefit your family, of course. We have philanthropy and we have our family and our wealth and all of that, but you can kind of align it, which is really, really cool.
You can align it, and I'm a big believer that you can do good and you can do well.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer in it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of advisors that disagree, and I like to argue with them, but I really think that you can do so. And I think that
Mm.
overall, part of being a good advisor is listening to your clients and being able to deliver something for them. And because of this wealth shift, that's what I'm seeing a lot of these women wanting to make sure their portfolio aligns with them, and having an advisor that can provide those resources is invaluable.
Man, I'm getting really excited sitting here and
Good,
just thinking about this
good.
because I in my industry we talk a lot about the wealth transfer just like you do in yours, and we're starting to see it. We're starting to see clients coming in, they're doing their planning and they're like, okay, now mom and dad or whomever they need to do theirs
Yeah.
because it's coming, but it's exciting to think that as women and as a society as a whole, sometimes maybe we feel like we can't make a change or we have these billionaires out there that kind of run the world, but we do have power, and even if we get together collectively and use that power for good on a bigger scale, that's amazing.
Yeah, yeah. That's why I like to be so involved in the community too.
Yeah.
Investments are important, but also your time and how you spend
Yeah.
your time.
Yeah.
I love the networks that I'm a part of, and yeah, no, I like to see as much tangible change that I can have an impact on.
Yeah.
I really like that.
I'm reading a book right now. This is kind of an aside, but it's about Eleanor Roosevelt and Mary Bethune, who was one of the founders of a school. I didn't even know that much about it here in Florida, in Daytona, a school for black children to go to because they had no school in their town in Daytona. She literally bought the garbage dump in the town,
Look at that.
built the school, had then I'm reading the book, I don't know how much. It's like a fictional but based on the real story. But then the Procter and Gamble company came in, sat on the board, helped her build a school, helped her build a hospital. I'm like reading this book, I'm like, I'm about to get in a road trip to Daytona so I can go see this school. I'm a Floridian. I didn't even know this story.
That's
But
awesome.
as we're talking, I'm like, it's such a good example of someone she had no money. She was just really good at fundraising and she cared and she wanted to make a difference in her community and she did it.
That's
Someone
awesome.
that maybe had $2 to her name literally had this incredible school built.
I think women are unstoppable. I think we're unstoppable. I think that when we put our mind to something, like there's nothing getting in the
Yeah.
middle of it.
Yeah. It's like that Nike commercial you were
Oh,
saying, like,
I
if
love that commercial. I love that commercial. Like when someone tells you you can't do it, you just do it.
just do it.
You just get up and do it. And
Yeah.
I feel like that power, I just got so energized once I had my boys because you learn to say yes to the right thing, you learn to say no to the wrong things, and
Mm,
you become more, I don't know, I don't know how to word it, but you just become more empowered by who you are as a woman. You gave life and you can do anything. Like you're unstoppable.
yeah,
I truly think that we're unstoppable.
I agree. I agree. So, for those who are listening, this is a show about money, wealth, mindset, stress while you're in law school in your career, creating a better environment as we move forward as attorneys so we can sustainably stay in our careers.
Yeah.
And a big part of that is money.
Yeah.
So, what would you say are kind of the biggest roadblocks that you see in clients who are maybe in their accumulation phase? A lot of attorneys are high earners, but historically, a very low percent of us are actually millionaires. It's like under 10%, which is crazy.
Yeah.
For clients who are kind of that high earning younger demographic, what do you see the biggest roadblocks are for like building true wealth?
I think that what I've seen when I speak at this, I've spoken at law firms and I've noticed that there is a high salary and then there's also student loans. Um, and then there's also the circle that you're in. And so there's a lot of attorneys wanting to have like the most expensive handbags, the most expensive cars,
Yep.
while also trying to like tackle the student loans and not necessarily knowing where to put the money. And so sometimes that money might go to the wrong, not I don't want to say the wrong, but it could have
It's
been
not
better used.
intentional.
Yeah, it could have been better allocated. So a big roadblock that I've seen in someone like that is that they tend to uh, need someone, whether it is a financial advisor, whether it is, just like a third party that holds you accountable to kind of put all your ducks in a row and to begin saving, investing, at the same time recognizing. Today we were on Nova presenting, and my partner talked about good debt and bad debt, right? And so the interest that you are paying on, whether it is credit card, maybe not a mortgage just yet, maybe yes, I know that you purchased a home
Hmm.
pretty early on, but just looking at your full financial picture, recognizing what is sustainable and what is not, and being honest with yourself. That's why I like a third party person, because it's really difficult for you to say that to yourself.
Yeah.
um Recognizing when you have your cash flow that comes in, your cash flow that goes out. Do you have enough to, if tomorrow you are not able to work, or something happens, are your emergency funds well taken care of? Are they liquid? Are they accessible? um and then everything else, do you have credit card debt that you're paying 30% in interest? Is that going to compound against you? Is that going to hurt you? Do you have a mortgage where maybe the interest rate may be high, but it is tax deductible because you're under the income limit? So maybe, you know, just trying to be strategic with all aspects of your financial picture would be a really great way to get started at that point in time of the attorney, when they're earning a lot of money, but they're also just trying to figure out what to do with it. So the biggest roadblock is yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, and from what I saw, working at boutique firms and big firms and now being on my own is most people didn't have a financial advisor and you're starting out, especially for those who go right into big law, you're starting out at, 200,000 ish in
Yeah.
your first year as a new attorney. If you're coming straight through school, you're probably 25,
Yeah.
27. We don't even recommend that our clients name their children as their own trustees at that age typically. So you have
Yeah.
someone coming into all of this money. They might have parental guidance or, mentors, but getting a financial advisor early on, which is something I did not do, I think is so key because you're coming into all this money. You need a game plan. You need that objective third party who's watching the market, who understands the money mindset piece and who can give you that recommendation. So you start off strong early on in your 20s or your 30s. So, it's never too late,
No,
but I
no.
think that's important to note.
I like people that recognize that. I have someone right now that she's like, Maria, I have, she's so sweet. And she tells me she has partnerships and she has a lot going on in the most positive of ways, but she's a little bit overwhelmed because she's like, I genuinely don't know what to do. Like, I don't, should I be saving? Should I be investing? Should I be investing back into my business? Should I be
Mm,
a legacy? Should I be thinking about my son? What should I be doing? It is a little overwhelming.
Yeah.
And I think that as women, we're always thinking about whether it is our parents or kids, just overall that caretaker mindset. It's overwhelming to have money. And that's why when I introduce myself, I do talk about being an advisor for women in transition, because I feel like that's when we really need that financial advisor the most,
Yeah.
which is when there's a large transition happening in our life, whether that might be a change of jobs, a growing your family, receiving an inheritance, and not really know opening up your business.
Yeah.
As a business owner, you really want to have someone guiding you so that you could take advantage of current tax law, but at the same time, make it work for you, make it work for your family, make it work for your business.
Yeah.
And I think that having a financial advisor slash also a financial planner.
Mm-hmm.
So if that person, if it says financial planner, that would be really helpful too, because you want somebody that can plan for you. That's what you're looking for. Having investments are great, and I think it's really important to have a financial advisor that handles your investments, but I think the planning aspect of it is really valuable um, in a financial planner.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I mean, that's when I went off on my own. That's when, the company you're with, I reached out. I was like, let's do this because
Good,
I had done
good.
pretty good. I had done pretty, well. I was always, pretty on top of my money. But I got to the point where I'm like, okay, now I'm on my own.
I need
Now I
help
need help. I
or
don't have these
guidance.
company benefits. I
Guidance.
need the guidance
Yeah.
and I need that objective third party because as my wealth grows, I'm like, I want to make sure I'm not missing opportunities or losing money unnecessarily because I'm not aware of everything that's out there.
Yeah. That's actually something that we do quite well, which is reviewing, again, everything holistically, but as simple as reviewing your current policies. So, whatever you have in place, even like your car insurance, but like we're looking at everything. We're looking at if you have subscriptions that you forgot to cancel and they're
Yeah.
eating up away at your
Oh my
cash flow.
gosh.
I mean, the membership model is genius because you forget to
You
cancel those
do.
memberships
You do.
and you are so busy. The last thing in your mind is that membership.
Yeah.
I have my membership at Cooper's Hawk. I have 12 wine bottles
Girl,
waiting for
same.
me.
Same. Every time we go, I'm like carrying out my boxes. Like,
Yes, because you forget. And then they make it difficult for you to cancel
I
or
know.
pause. You
I
have to
know.
call. When are you going to call? So
I just canceled because I'm like, okay, we'll do it again
I
at some
haven't
point. But
done it.
I'm
I
like,
paused
oh,
it. I paused it. But yes, I have 12 wine bottles. The membership model is genius, but it's also eating up into our cash flow and
yeah,
we're not looking at it. So
yeah,
having that third person saying, hey, Lauren, look at all this money that you're really not utilizing at
yeah,
all.
yeah,
Can we be more?
yeah. Because over
eh,
time, that it may not seem like that much,
that's what, yeah,
but
I
it does
agree.
add up.
It
It
adds
really
up.
does. And that's money that you could put in another bucket that could be making money for you.
Exactly. Exactly. Amazon, the way that you shop on Amazon, it's crazy because
I
you
know.
just click
Yeah. It doesn't feel like you're spending money
and
at
then your
all.
credit card bill
And
and
you're
then
like,
the interest
whoa.
on the credit card. I think all of that is so important. So having a plan that ideally you would pay yourself first before
Mm,
all the other shopping happens or all the other,
yes.
I don't want to say unnecessary things, but all the other, you know, expenses that you
Yeah.
have control over, why not pay yourself first and
Yeah.
maybe, you know, plan for the future? I think that's really important and I think that clients really like that.
Pay yourself first. I love that.
Yeah,
I love that.
definitely.
This has been amazing. Where can everyone find out more about you and connect with you?
Our website is connectyourwealth.com and you can find me at Madi at Connect Your Wealth. And the name really does encompass everything that we talked about today, which is connecting everything, making sure that all, sometimes I find that a client's CPA didn't talk to the trust and state attorney, didn't talk to the
Yeah,
advisor. And now everybody's working in silos and not really working for the client.
it's my biggest pet peeve.
It is, but it happens
Happens.
so much.
That's the norm, honestly.
That is the norm.
Honestly.
That is the norm. So, Connect Your Wealth really looks at everything holistically and wants to be that quarterback for the client. So the
Yeah.
client kind of just has everything at one place, understands everything just by speaking to that person or that team. So, yeah, Connect Your Wealth.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for coming on. This was
Thank
amazing.
you. Thank you for having me. I really, really enjoyed this. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.